Ebola is an extremely rare but deadly viral disease. It is mostly found in humans, but can also be found in non-human primates, such as gorillas and chimpanzees. It also can be found in fruit bats, but they can live with the virus unlike us and primates. The main location of where Ebola is most common would be in Saharan Africa. The Ebola virus is insanely deadly, and once it is spread, it is hard to stop. It kills around 50% of the people that are infected, but can kill up to 90%. As you can see from this picture, it explains a lot of the background information that goes along with Ebola. The symptoms usually show up anytime from 2 to 21 days. For example, it tells about what symptoms it includes, such as fever, muscle pain, weakness, vomiting, organ failure, and internal and external bleeding. The disease targets the cells of the liver and the linings of the blood vessels. The virus spreads through the body and damages the immune system and organs. People who die from this disease usually end up dying from multi-organ failure and shock. As Amanda Chan had explained, the shock is from the bleeding, and now you're bleeding in different parts of your body, and the blood is leaking out of your blood vessels. It is usually first spread through direct contact with an infected animal or person, but it can also be spread through any sort of contact with blood or any other bodily fluids from an infected human or animal. It could also be spread by touching any object such as clothing or bed sheets. This is a helpful picture to refer to when looking at how Ebola symptoms progress among time. As you can see, at first someone gets exposed to the virus, and then the symptoms usually come in between 4 and 9 days. Then, the course of the illness usually lasts between 6 and 10 days. The first few days the person infected would have flu-like symptoms and feel weak. The next few days they experience vomiting and nausea and headaches and more. The last few days of the disease, the patient is confused and bleeding both internally and externally. This all eventually leads to a coma, shock, and in most cases, death. Throughout this Ebola outbreak, it killed 11,300 and infected 28,000 people. As you can see on this bar graph, Ebola and HIV were two of the most common and dangerous diseases if not treated. So far, there is still no cure that has been discovered for this awful disease. Researchers have been working to find and create one, but still have had no success. The treatment they are experimenting with is a serum that would destroy the infected cells. They have not had this work yet. The only way the doctors had been trying to help the infected patients is with fluid and electrolytes. The cost to treat just 2 patients that were affected by Ebola was $1.16 million in the United States. If people did survive this deadly disease, then they would not be able to catch it again. Many people that were infected with this disease ended up dying, especially if they either had a weak immune system or if they weren't given the strong medical care that they needed. The 17,000 that survived during the outbreak still faced long-term health consequences, such as chronic joint pain, visual and neurological disorders, and also hair loss. There are no cases that had originated in the United States, only people that ended up here. Only 11 people that were treated in the United States from 2014 to 2016. Ebola was mostly found in West Africa, especially Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. The Ebola epidemic had a huge socio-economic impact on these 3 countries. In 2014, an estimated $2.2 million was lost. Here are the specific numbers in the countries of Africa that were affected by the disease. The people infected with Ebola from Sierra Leone, there were 14,124 infected and 3,956. Area, there were 10,675 infected and 4,809 dead. Lastly, from Guinea, there were 3,804 infected and 2,536 dead.